All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to those who have joined us from different parts of the world. And yeah, a quick hello and hello to everyone, and welcome to pCloudy's webinar on accelerating cross-browser testing with pCloudy and Selenium 4. My name is Dinakar, and I'll be the host for today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. As you've not already noticed, your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar through the chat option at the bottom of the screen. We will answer your questions as part of the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. And please note that this webinar is being recorded, and we will send out the link of the recording to share with your colleagues later. With that said, a quick introduction to the speaker for today, Shoaib Ahmed. Shoaib is a lead pre-sales consultant at pCloudy. He has around 10 plus years of experience in the IT industry. Prior to his role at pCloudy, he worked with Micro Focus as a pre-sales consultant for application delivery management portfolio. He has catered to different technologies such as DevOps, automation, performance, cloud, and mobility. Without further ado, let me hand it over to the speaker, Shoaib Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Dinakar. Thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining this webinar. Right. So yeah, so my name is Shoaib Ahmed, and I'm a lead pre-sales consultant here at pCloudy. So in today's webinar, we'll be focusing on the cross-browser testing with pCloudy and the Selenium 4 updates. So with that, without much delay, let's get started. Let's move to the agenda. So here is a quick agenda. Introduction followed by a quick overview on the pCloudy to give overall perspective of what pCloudy is. And then we will look into the Selenium 4 updates, all the recent updates that have been incorporated in the Selenium. So we will look out all the different updates that are come through the Selenium. And also we will look into the W3 standards that Selenium is compliant of, and we'll look at some of its standards, rules, and the benefits of W3C standards that we have. And then we will also look into a live demo. All right, so where I will be showcasing the Selenium scripts integrated with the pCloudy and execute the automation script on the pCloudy platform directly on the different browsers, different browser and OS combinations. All right, and then followed by the Q&A. And in between, if you have any queries, you can feel free to put your queries on the chat option. We will take it in the Q&A session. All right. So let's get started. Just let's take a leap with pCloudy. So what is pCloudy all about? So pCloudy is basically, it's a continuous testing cloud platform. Which basically it's a comprehensive solution to increase all the speed of your application testing by enabling continuous test. So it's a one-stop shop for all your mobile and as well as web application testing needs. So we provide a device lab infrastructure which helps you test all your different types of mobile applications, be it native, hybrid, progressive web apps, and mobile web apps across different devices that are hosted on the cloud on both Android and as well as iOS platform with different manufacturers, make and model and screen resolutions, where you can test all your applications with the device that are hosted on the cloud, along with the features and capabilities that pCloudy brings in. All right, so that's on the device lab side. Along with it, we have a browser lab for all your web application testing needs. So we have a readily available infrastructure which helps you test all your web-based applications on the fly, be it for manual testing or automation testing on a different browser, operating system, and version combination, and thereby testing your needs according to your requirement. Right, so that's the browser lab instance what we have for you. And now when it comes to automation, so automation is a very crucial part of the software development life cycle process. Right, so we start automation very early, right? As we move to the shift left approach in the agile testing. So it's very important that we have automation in place as well. So when we talk about automation, uh, the first and foremost thing comes into our mind, thought is, the automation tool. What automation tool are we going to use? So with pCloudy, we also have another separate product called as Opkey, which is a codeless form of automation, which has a record and playback feature where you can record these scenarios, and also you can play it back, by integrating with pCloudy devices. So we have a tool which helps you create your test cases at a faster pace, and even without having any technical or programming skills. All right, so since it's a codeless form of automation tool, so it's a separate product with the pCloudy. And with pCloudy, we also have a feature which is called as Object Spy, right, which helps you to inspect the objects and elements and get all the relevant attributes and values. So it can be the ID or the name or the XPaths, right? So you get those XPaths and then generate the code at a very instance, and thereby using the same code for your automation test creation purpose. So that's about the rapid automation. And when you talk about the automation at scale, so this is something very important. Once your automation test cases are ready, and now in order to scale up, right, and if you are looking to test it on wide variety of different devices, and you want to scale up to more number of devices at the same time, right? So for achieving the parallel execution, so with pCloudy, you can integrate your existing framework, be it APM or Selenium, with pCloudy platform, and execute your automation scripts on multiple devices at the same time, and thereby achieving the parallel execution. This helps achieving the software automation testing goals at a faster phase. So we are pretty much in line with the industry standards, um, where we are moving into, right, be it for the agile methodology or even into the DevOps cycle. And then test analytics. So when we talk about the test analytics, pCloudy provides you a reporting mechanism which helps you identify all your issues, any findings that you have come across while you are doing your test, be it either through manual testing or through automation. We bring you all the latest statistics of your test, uh, that will help further debug and identify the issues at the earlier stages, even before the application goes to the production. So um, with significant improvement in the test analytics, we have even launched progressive reports. It's mainly for the automation purpose, where you get the detailed reporting of your execution. So you can pretty much monitor your execution while the execution is running in live, which helps you understand about your executions, monitor the execution logs, then monitor the video. So this gives you the live session of your automation, and thereby understanding if there are any issues during your automation. Thereby you can take care of appropriate call. So we will look into detail today around these different features. And lastly, our tool is capable enough of integrating with all the leading CI servers, especially when it comes to integrating with CI servers like Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. So these are pretty much there. You can integrate with your existing CI servers to help you create your jobs and execute it on the pCloudy platform. So that's pretty much about on this slide. Let's move on to our next slide. So we have been recently published and also listed with Gartner for the technology in the Gartner 2020 report for the how to build an effective remote testing competency. And we have also been listed in G2 Crowd instance. And we have customers globally from the Fortune 500 companies with various different domains from banking to finance, insurance, pharma, retail, and all the different verticals we pretty much have among them. And this is what we are known for. We have been rated in the Gartner and G2 crowd as well. So without much delay, let me just get into the now on the Selenium 4. So we will look into what are the new enhancement that has been done on the Selenium 4. We will look into detail, right? So we'll talk about all the various different components of Selenium WebDriver, the Selenium Grid, and also the Selenium IDE. So we will talk about each one of them and their enhancements that have been done around Grid and IDE, and then followed by the locators. So we will look into the relative locators, what are the existing and the new ones that we have, which you can incorporate within Selenium 4. And then followed by the windows and the tab management, how effectively you can manage the multiple windows and the tabs in case or during the session. We will look into the existing process and also the new window and tab management process we have. And also a few enhancements are done around the Chrome debugging protocol support. So we will look into in detail what are the different benefits of having the Chrome debugging protocol support and what are those enhancements that has been done, and some new actions that I've added, new action classes, and then followed by the desired capabilities. Right, so these capabilities are deprecated. So we look into what are its option, what have we replaced with desired capabilities. All right. So that's let's take a look. Let's try and understand in detail now. So when we talk about the Selenium Grid, it's one of the components which helps us in distributing the test execution, and that means whenever we have to run our tests on combination of browsers or different operating systems or even on a different, we can take help on Selenium Grid, and it helps also to do the parallel execution. All right. So when we talk about the Selenium Grid in detail, so if we talk about the overall, it can make our testing much faster, and this also helps us to run our test on a different combination, right, of all the different platforms in parallel. So it can make our testing much faster. And Selenium Grid is now completely redesigned and revamped. All right, so all that code that is written from scratch, it does not show any code with our earlier Selenium Grid. All right, and easy management. So the management is much easier now. So we have a single jar for the hubs and the nodes. So there is no need to start the hubs and nodes separately, so that all the options through Selenium Grid are taken care. All right. So I just got a chat from the panelist. I believe there was some noise with my voice. Okay. Let me just be a little closer to the mic. I'm sorry for that glitch. I was talking about the Selenium Grid. I just tried to repeat this. So Selenium Grid is completely redesigned and revamped. Now, when we talk about Selenium Grid, so it's basically what's one of the component of the Selenium, which helps us in distributing the test execution. And what that means is whenever we have to run our test on a combination of browsers, the operating systems, or even on a different machines, so we can take help of Selenium Grid, and it can also help us to do the parallel execution. So overall, it can make our testing much faster, and it also helps us unable to run our test in different combinations of or different test different platforms along with the parallel, so that it makes our testing much faster. And now with a complete revamped and redesigned, right, so you'll have a complete new look and feel of it. And when we talk about the management part, so management is much easier now. So we have a single jar for hubs and nodes, so that there is no need to start the hubs and nodes, so that there are a lot of improved Selenium Grid, and we do also have support for Docker. With the support for Docker, you can now create containers, and there is no need of depending on the VMs, and also so you can scalable better scalability. We can use the application like Kubernetes and so on. And so there are three different ways of running the Selenium grid, right? So we look into them. The first one is the standalone. So now we have a single jar and we do not have to run all the nodes and hubs. So we can use a single command. So it will just say standalone and will take care of all the processes, and it will find all the web drivers or all the web browsers in the system. And then the second way is hub and node, which is traditionally an old way where we used to start the hub and register the node. So these are the commands for the hub and node. And the third one is the distributed. So there is a huge advancement that has been made on the. So now we can run each component or or piece in its own process. And we have four different processes. You can create a process as a router, as a distributor, or even as a session, and the node. So all these can be used to run the Selenium in a more distributed way. All right, so that's pretty much on the Selenium grid. And moving on to the next slide. So when we talk about the Selenium IDE, so let's try and understand about the Selenium IDE. So Selenium IDE is recording playback tool and is available as an add-on. And now we have this add-on on Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge. So with that, the GUI is pretty much improved. You will see a new complete GUI for the better look and feel, and also better usability for the users. And there is also a command line interface. With command line, you can do your CMD execution on the grid, also on the node, and the locator strategy has also been improved. So with the new Selenium IDE, there are locators which helps you identify the elements very easily. So the identification of the elements is done properly. So with the help of advanced locators. And then these are more stable and reliable. So with the new Selenium 4 updates, the Selenium IDE in particular is more stable, and you can pretty much rely on it. Right? So that's about the Selenium IDE side. And now when we talk about different locators, right? So there are various different locators that we will be seeing today, right? So these are basically functions. These are some functions which we use to locate the nearby elements by specifying the directions like the above, below, the nearby, or exit off. Right. So we will look into some of the existing locators which we were using earlier. So these existing locators, we can find with the help of these elements, we can find the elements on the web using its properties like IDs, name, or class name, or even the XPath for that matter. And when we talk about the new locators, so these new locators are above, below, left of, to the right of, and near. So these are some of the new locators that has been done on the Selenium 4 bit. So you can easily now start using these locators, so which will help you easily write your scripts and identify the elements with the help of these new locators. The existing locators will still be there, will still work, but with the enhancement of the new locators, you can pretty much use this and create your scripts and more with more reliable thing. So let's move on. The next enhancement that has been done is on the Windows and the tab management. Right. So earlier, whenever we have to open a new tab or a window, so we had to create a new driver session, and it was very difficult to manage and maintain even a single session of WebDriver. But now with the Selenium 4, we have our functions. So where these functions for Windows and tab, right? And we can work with multiple windows or tabs in the same WebDriver session. Right? So you need not create a separate session. You don't have to create a new driver as such. And you know, so there are two functions which if you have to open up a new tab or a window. So these are the new options what we have. So for opening or switching to a new window, so there is a driver dot switch dot new window, window type as window. And in case if you want to switch or open a new tab, that is driver dot switch to new window and window type as a tab command. So you can have all these windows and tab management as two options which are updated from the Selenium 4 into your, and you can incorporate within your scripts, and you can thereby use it with a more effective way. Right. So that's about Windows management. And moving on to our next slide. Uh, so there are certain Chrome debugging protocol support, which was also done as part of the program. So we will look into this as well. So there are certain new APIs, and also there is a direct support for Chrome DevTools. So when we specifically
Hi,
talk
Shweta.
about,
Sorry to cut you in. Sure, we hear your voice in like a sine wave, like we're hearing it and then it goes up and then it goes down, goes up and then goes down. So just, I'm not sure if there's any setting that you can do, but yeah, just wanted to let you know about that.
all right, sorry, I'm really sorry for that. I'm not sure what's really happening here. Okay, I'll just try to be a little closer to the mic. Thanks for letting me know, Dinakar. I've been cautious about that. So I'll just repeat the slide. I was just talking about the Chrome debugging tool support, right? So what we have, so there are various different enhancement that is being done around the Chrome debugging support. So we will look into the Chrome dev tools in particular. So there are some new APIs and also and these Chrome dev tools are built-in tools in browsers like Chrome, Opera, Microsoft Edge, and these are very helpful to the developers when we especially talk about, right. So the developers can do a lot of like they can put the elements in document object model, which is you can also edit the elements of and CSS on the fly, and you can also monitor the site performance, right? Talk about the network, and you can actually monitor the network traffic, capture the networking conditions, simulate them, and also perform geolocation. So all these are again pretty much added as part of the new enhancement within and you can also change the resolution of the device and also on the application and execute to the JavaScript so with the responsive design. So these are some of the enhancements that has been made over the Chrome debugging protocol support. And when we talk about the desired capabilities, so as I mentioned earlier, so now the capabilities are deprecated. So with the advancement of options, right? So these capabilities are now replaced with the new options. Right? So the desired capabilities were primarily used in the test scripts to define the environments from the browser name to the versions or the OS, and for execution on the Selenium Grid. So now these capabilities objects are replaced with option classes. So there are certain option classes for all the different browsers. We have Firefox. For Firefox, we have Firefox option class, and for Chrome options class, and similarly for IE, Microsoft Edge, and Safari. Right. So these are some of the new enhancement you know are added as part of this. So let's try to focus now to our next slide and into the demonstration part. So before we go that, there's also an enhancement that is done on the W3C protocol. So what is this? Uh, so now W3C compliant. So uh, what is W3C? The World Wide Web Consortium, right? And it is a central body that defines the standards on the web. So earlier, we had a Selenium browser directly. So there we had and the responses through the client and server architecture. But this communication is not direct. So there used to be a component called the JSON wire protocol. So the JSON wire protocol used to encode and decode all the communication between uh, the, the browser and the request to the client and the browser. So now it has been completely replaced with the direct communication. We no more
Hi,
have.
sorry, Dinakar again here. Sure, can you just repeat that from the W3C standard that you were mentioning, because we couldn't hear you so well?
All right.
And also, another panelist was mentioning that if you could just change your setting to a phone call. Not sure if that'll help, but maybe we can give that a shot.
Let's give it a try. I'm sorry for that. Let me just switch to.
We apologize for these technical difficulties that we're facing. These are the challenges that we face, working from the home setting. But yeah, I'm sure we're going to sort this out in a quick few minutes. Just bear with us for a few minutes. We're sorry about this trouble. Sure, I'm sorry, we're not able to hear you. I'm not sure if you're connected.
Is my voice audible? Is my voice clear?
Yeah, much better, much better.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. Let me just reiterate on this particular side what I was talking about. So I was just talking about the W3C standard. So now the Selenium uh, is now the W3C component. So W3C is nothing but a worldwide web consortium, and it is a central body that defines the standards on the web. So earlier we had a Selenium interacting with the browser, and now we had request and the response, right? They were client and server architecture. So, but this communication was not direct. So we used a component called JSON wire protocol. So the JSON wire protocol used to encode and decode all the communication between the Selenium and the browser. So now we do not have this JSON wire protocol. So now the Selenium can directly interact with the browser, and the communication is much faster and more stable. Right? So that is something that we have. And also with the advancement of W3C standards, so the automation slackiness has been pretty much reduced. And it is more stable now with the W3C standards, and there are some enhancement that has been done around the APIs. So the APIs are pretty much enhanced. So with that, this gives a lot of stability and reliable with the W3C standards. And so with that, let me just quickly take you into the live demonstration with the Selenium and also on the pCloudy product with the integration. And also I'll try to execute one sample script and showcase how the execution happens. So with that, let me just switch to the demonstration mode here. So device.pcloudy.com is the URL. And it's as I mentioned, it's a single stop shop for all your mobile and web application testing needs. I'm just trying to log in. So yeah, there are two sections as I mentioned. So one is devices for all the mobile application needs. So the devices that are shown here are real devices. So you can perform your test either through manually or through APM. And so we will be focusing on the browser part. So the next part is the browser. So where you can see all the different browser combinations. Like we have different browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and so on. And also when it comes to operating system, so we have support for all the different Mac machine and Windows. And when it comes to OS version, all the different OS versions for Windows, we have Windows 8.1 and Windows 10. And for Mac machines, we have Catalina, Mojave, and Monterey. Is my voice still fluctuating? I just see, I happen to see the chat.
No, it's much better, Shoaib. It's much better. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just try to continue. Okay, thanks, Dinakar. Okay, so let's just get into the Selenium part, right, without much delay. So I have a Selenium script created on my local machine with the Selenium 4 updated on this segment. So if you can see my pom.xml, so I have updated to Selenium 4. All right. So if you're still with the older versions, you can pretty much update your existing framework with the latest version. And I have incorporated few changes with the Selenium, like the desired capabilities being deprecated with the options. All right. So these are those options. So we as a pCloudy support the latest Selenium 4 instance. So you can update all the enhancement that has been done over the Selenium 4 updates. So let me just take you through this a sample script. All right. So I have modified it accordingly. So when we talk about the integration with pCloudy, right? So these are just the 6 line of code is required for me to integrate with my existing, Selenium script, right? So I am setting up the capabilities with the operating systems, the browser name, the browser versions, all right, and also so this is my unique client name. So that's the user who's running it, and followed by the API key. So every individual user will have their own API keys, and this is the endpoint URL where the Selenium is hosted. Right. So once you have these capabilities, you are pretty much done with the integration with your existing script. And also, since I am running this on parallel parallel sessions, right? So I have created them as a parameters, right? Like OS versions, browser name, and browser version. So I will define all these values in the test.ng.xml. So we'll look into it. And the second part of the test is to write the actual test cases. So you can implement your existing test cases if you've already created, and you can also make use of those relative locators. So for now, I'm just keeping with an existing locators, as this is still supported. You may configure it with the new relative locators. Instead of name, you can have it with near or left of and the right of relative locators. and then followed by the last method, which is basically a driver dot quit session. So these are three different parts to any Selenium script. Now, since I'm running this in parallel, right, I also have a test ng XML where I can define the operating systems and its versions along with the browser details, right? For example, if I want to execute the same script on two different operating systems, two different operating system versions, I can simply define. So I have chosen Windows 10 and Windows 8.1 here with Chrome instances. You may choose your own frameworks, of choose your own browser name. Instead of Chrome, you can also have it Firefox or Microsoft Edge. So in this demonstration, I'm just keeping it to Chrome. All right. So once I have defined all these values, I'm pretty much done with the integration and also the configuration of the applications along with its parameters and its values, right? So let's execute this in real time and see it in live. Okay, so let me just execute this. Go to test ng suite and trigger the test. So once I trigger the test, the will appear console where I can monitor all my errors and warnings. So this is more from the Selenium client side, where you can pretty much monitor if there are any errors or warnings. So with pCloudy, what we bring in is we bring in you the live execution. So you can actually monitor your execution in live. So in order to monitor your execution, just get into the report section, and in the my active session you'll start seeing the sessions coming in. All right, so for now Windows 10 Chrome with the 90 version browser has already there. I can further click on the live view to see my execution pretty much in live, right? So this helps me during the debugging of the session, right? So as you can see, this is just trying to launch the pCloudy platform and just trying to get log into the platform. So meanwhile I can pretty much monitor my on the Eclipse IDE as well. So all the different parameters, um, I can I can pretty much monitor everything on this, and while I'm monitoring, and also I can check if the other machine has already occupied. I can go back to the my active session and start seeing, yeah, I have the other device as well. So live session is of course is optional, but this helps you monitor your session while it's running. That helps you in while you're debugging your application, right? So you can add in the breakpoints within your scripts, and you can start debugging step by step as well. So that helps you debug in a more reliable and a better way, right? So that's how you monitor all your executions. So once the execution is completed, both the machines will get auto released, and the data on these devices will get wiped out. So when we say the data, so whatever applications that you have access, so we will clear the cache and cookies from the backend, and thereby then the machine will also get rebooted. So next time when you connect to the same machine, the machine will be in its original state, so no other user will be able to see what applications you have accessed. And also if there are any internal applications, any internal local applications that you want to access on the pCloudy platform, you can pretty much do that as well. You have to simply use our pCloudy utility, which is called as pCloudy desktop assistant. You can use that assistant. So we have a documentation link which will help you which will help you with the steps on how to download and use this utility on your local machine. And yeah, once you have that, you can pretty much access all your internal based applications either through manually or even through automation with the help of capability. So you make sure you add those relevant capabilities along with the required capabilities that are needed in order to integrate. All right, so with that, I have pretty much covered on the automation side with the new capabilities and the enhancements Selenium 4 brings in. You can pretty much use the same. And also once the execution is completed, reports are also provided. Right, so we are further revamping our reports for the web application, but for now the reports looks like it gives you all the basic details about your test that you have been performed, and what is the browser details that you have been used, along with all its details like the browser version, the operating system and its version, along with the details like the session name, started, completion, total duration, and so on. And along with if there are any videos captured for the session, so we will be providing the video as well. And yeah, so that's how the report looks like. And also, in case if you wish to test your applications similarly to manually as well, you can connect to any of these machines. So it's a one-stop shop for all your mobile as well as web application testing needs. So with that, I I conclude the webinar here, and maybe I can quickly take some questions if there are any. I see a few questions coming in the chat option. I'll just be there for pause for a few seconds for you to come up with your queries. Okay, there are a few questions coming in. I'll just try to answer all of your questions. So there is a question from Nitin. He says, can we download the artifacts like videos and logs? Of course. So as I said, we are revamping our the reports of the Selenium. However, for APM, we pretty much have all the reports in place, and with the advancement of progressive report, which helps you detailed reporting about your test execution along with the build status, which gives you all the test artifacts like the test logs, the APM logs, device logs, videos, and everything. So all these you can pretty much download it on your local machine, and for further analyzing or further debugging purpose. Yeah, that's possible currently on the mobile testing side, but very soon we will be revamping for Selenium as well. I hope I have answered your question. Okay. Okay, I see a follow-up question from Nitin. He says, is there any benefits of using pCloudy over browser stack and source labs? Certainly, we have the competitor assessment being done for the browser stack and the source lab, which you can find it out on our portal. But on a higher level, if I talk about some of the benefits, so we have the device and the browser combinations. What we have on our platform is huge, more than 5,000 device and the browser combinations what we have. So with that, that gives you a flexibility of testing your mobile and web applications on wide variety of devices, different browsers, different operating systems, and thereby covering the market penetration, market coverage for all these different devices, along with some of the features and capabilities that pCloudy brings in, which are unique and key to it. So we have published them on our platform, so you can refer them as well on our web portal. Okay, so there is a question from Rakesh. He's asking whether is there a possibility not to reset a cookie or a cache. This is going to be real life scenario as customer won't clear them before reusing the web application. Okay, so certainly this is possible. See, on public cloud, you need to understand since it's a public and it's a shareable platform, right? And mostly many different users across the globe will be accessing the platform, and it is a mandate for us to do the clear the cache and cookies as per the security and the compliance, right? So we adhere to the policies set by the industry standards, from ISO 27001 and SOC 2 compliant. So in order to from this security and the privacy, we pretty much do it by default on a public cloud instance. However, in any such scenarios where you think you need not clear the cache and cookies every time, then in such cases, on a dedicated private instance, this is possible. So what is a dedicated cloud? Dedicated cloud will be exclusively hosted for a particular client, right? So where the URL would be whitelisted and there won't be any public presence in it. So it is pretty much accessible only for you. So you can, so there we can configure it so as to not reset the cache and cookies. All right. So yeah, that's possible only in case of private cloud instance, not on the public cloud. I hope I've answered your question, Rakesh. Okay, so there is one more question from Sailesh. He's asking how much cost for pCloudy setup based on user licenses. Okay, so we have our licensing norms already published on our platform. So if you go to pcloudy.com, into the option into the different options which talks about the cost, so you can deep dive. So for public cloud, we have pretty much published on the pcloudy.com, so you can refer them. So based on the options that you are looking at, you can let us know, or you can even get in touch with our sales representative. For a private cloud instance, so you may have to reach out through our sales representative, who will help you with the costing details. I hope I have answered your query. Thanks. And also there is one more question from Kavya. Says, could you please tell me how we can pass the username and password basic authentication using via URL in iOS devices? Okay, this is the out of context question, but still I can take this query for you. Um, could you please tell me how we can pass username and password using URL in iOS device? So if you're talking about on the iOS mobile applications side, and if you want to do a basic authentication, right? So there are again various different mechanism of your identifying the object and elements of the username and password. So you either, if you're using APM, you can use APM desktop and identify the username and the password, inspect the elements through APM desktop, or with the help of a pCloudy feature which is called as object spy, right? You can use object spy feature to inspect the native elements of your applications on the username or through the password, and get um, mm, the relative attributes and values, and you can generate the code, and you can in turn use it in your scripts, right? So that is possible. But if it is through basic authentication via URL, this is something I need to understand. You can I'll try to write one-on-one to you, Kavya, on this query. Maybe I need some more information on this query. So yeah, let me take that offline and I'll try to answer to you one-on-one. All right. Any other questions? Okay. I see there's one more question coming up. Is Selenium compatible with different OS and browsers? Been asked by Imran. Um, Certainly, Imran, this is certainly possible. So Selenium is compatible with different operating systems, be it Mac OS, Windows, or even Linux for that matter. So yeah, it is compatible with all these different OSs, along with the different browser versions, different browser names. So it can be Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and in IE. Yeah, yeah, that's possible. And also there is a follow-up question. So does pCloudy support integration for CIS? Of course, yeah, as I mentioned, so our tool is capable of integrating with all the leading CI servers, be it Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. So you can pretty much integrate with the um,
Hi, Shoaib. Can you repeat? Sorry to cut you off. Can you repeat that question, the answer again?
the last question. I'm just repeating it.
Yep.
So there was a question from Imran, is asking whether if the Selenium is compatible with different OS and browsers, and also there was a follow-up question whether it can be supported with Jenkins integration. Yes, to answer to your question, yes, Selenium is compatible with all the different OSs, be it Mac, Linux, or Windows, and also on different browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Safari, IE, and so on. And to your follow-up question, whether pCloudy can be integrated with Jenkins. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, so our tool is DevOps ready, so you can integrate with all your CI servers, be it Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. So you can pretty much integrate and trigger your build through different CI servers and execute your different jobs. All right, so that is possible. Thanks. I hope I have answered to your question. There's one more question. Can I test local web applications on pCloudy browser? Nitin is asking. I did answer. Okay, I'll try to answer one more time. Yes, of course, you can test all your local site applications, which is in the QA environment or a dev environment. So there is a utility called pCloudy Desktop Assistant. You can use this utility and you can just execute this on your local machine. So once you configure the utility on your local machine, the connection would be established from your local machine to the cloud device, be it a mobile or a browser instant. And once that connection is set up, you will be able to access all your internal applications. And for automation, you may have to use a capability which we will be providing you. Yeah, I hope I have answered your question, Nitin. Okay, one more question. I want to set up a pCloudy for my automation project. What step would be needed to be followed? Okay. Okay, Sailesh, so we do have certain sample projects uploaded in our GitHub locations. You may download and refer them, so that will help you understand how you can integrate with the existing with your existing scripts with the pCloudy. So to answer to a question precise, so there is you can pretty much integrate with the help of capabilities. So we provide you certain capabilities. Using these capabilities, you can just add in with your existing script, and you can just integrate it. So just visit the pCloudy documentation page. In the automation section, you will find the detailed step-by-step process and guidance on how to integrate with your existing APM or Selenium framework, right? So that will help. Thanks, Alish. I hope I have answered to your questions. Okay, I think we are good. We don't have any more questions. So if there are any questions, please reach us out. You can reach us out through our website for any queries, or even you can reach out on my email, shoaib.ahmad@pcloudy@ssdsinc.com. That's my email address. If for any queries, you can just simply drop your query and I'll be happy to answer to your question. So with that, I think we can conclude if there are no more questions. Okay, lastly, there's one more question. I'll just try to take this question from Deepam, right? How shall I integrate Selenium 4 with APM? Whenever I try to an APM related script in Selenium 4, I get issues. Okay, Deepam, I need to understand a bit more about your specific query. What type of issues that you are getting? Is it possible if you can write one-on-one to me? I'll try to understand a bit more about your issues, what that you are facing in, and I'll help try to integrate with the existing frameworks that you have. Right? I don't see that feasibility of answering this query on the right away because I don't have much details about the issue that you have, right? So let's connect one-on-one. You can drop me an email. I'll be happy to answer your question. Yeah, put that. Also, there's an email of mine is on the chat. You can get these. All right. I think we are good. I hope the session was useful, and I'm really sorry for the glitch, the audio issue. I hope we managed to, go through this webinar and you were able to follow it properly. So yeah, if there are any further queries, you can please feel free to reach me out on my email. I'll be happy to answer to your questions. So with that, I conclude. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great evening. Bye bye.